Yo, what's up, guys? The Insane Game Freak here. It's Schizomatic here. We're back at it again with another movie review. We have a slightly different cast. We've started some consistency. We have Polly here. How are you doing, Polly?
I'm good. Glad to be back after four movies.
We're maintaining consistency, folks. New year, new me. Richie, how are you doing, sir?
Go away.
Oh, you starting off strong, I see, buddy. 10 out of 10. And then I guess technically not a newbie to Pokemon fandom because he's so fucking popular, but newbie to this as far as our movie reviews. KG Prestige, how are you, sir? Oh, you
Oh, sorry, I was drinking water when I
Wow.
was. I'm doing good, guys.
We're starting this off great, folks.
Okay.
That's a KG entrance. That's what that is.
I'm
Floundering
sorry.
around, but still fucking fancy as hell. How dare you, sir?
Thank
Hey,
you.
everybody.
So,
Did I save myself?
yes, you can. I mean, you can. I mean, I'm not. I don't. I don't have what I consider rules on here.
No,
Unless-
that was just it.
Oh, that was. Oh, okay. Damn it. Okay. Anyways, so today we're doing movie 10, the first Diamond and Pearl film, Rise of Darkrai. And some of you might be asking, where's Tyrone? Hey, listen, this will be the first video in a long while that won't have Tyrone's information in the description because he's not here. Well, to be fair, he's working and schedules collided, and I had to kind of make an executive decision.
I'm sorry.
And you guys have seen Tyrone almost on every fucking video. I think it's okay if he misses one. And there's a chance he may not even do that considering when we're recording this. So we'll see what happens. So the trade-off is you lost the Dedenne, which you called a Poliwhirl. Yes, there's a type disadvantage there, but fuck it. This one has hair. This one has hair. She's fancy. All right, she's a fancy
Yes,
Poliwhirl.
hair. What the fuck?
We need to get her a fuck. There needs to be a monocle version of your icon, Polly.
Oh, I made one.
Oh my goodness.
You made one?
I think so. I have multiple edits of this.
Oh my
I think
goodness.
that I.
This is gonna be a learning experience, folks. So anywho, we're doing the first Diamond and Pearl film, Rise of Darkrai.
Ironically.
This is weird because because in Japan it's called Pokemon Monster. I don't know the whole thing, but it's Dalgia versus Palkia versus Darkrai. That's what it's called in Japan, which I think is a better description of the film because I don't understand why this would be considered the Rise of Darkrai. It's like on some Batman shit to me. But as we usually do, we're gonna start with a plot summary. But because Tyrone isn't here, we're gonna have to. This is gonna be the ghetto version. So even when Tyrone isn't here,
From the hood.
his spirit will be missed because we're better because he's always the best at doing these. I don't know the names of most of the characters. Let me first.
Who's the one that travels with Ash again?
Alice?
No. I know the basic premise of the film is that Ash, Dawn, and Brock are going to the town. I don't know the name of the town.
Alamos.
Alamos.
Alamos, really?
Jesus fucking.
Yeah,
Christ.
hey, look. I'm being.
It's right there in the description.
Hey, listen. I wasn't looking at the description. All right, I said we're gonna
Oh, my
freeball it.
goodness.
That's what I was gonna do. They're going to town because there's a Pokemon contest that Dawn wants to enter. At this town, they meet a tour guide of the name of Alice who ends up, I guess, taking them on a tour of the town. This is where we also meet some of the other side characters, Tonio and Baron Alberto, who I guess, I don't know if Alberto is a childhood friend. I know Tonio is. Anywho, there's obviously some love triangle stuff going on here. But there's also seems to be some weird disturbances going on because you got these
In the
weird.
fourth.
Say
I'm
what?
sorry.
Say-
Nothing. I made a Star Wars reference.
Oh, that's what you said. May the 4th, didn't you?
No, it's the weird disturbances going on.
Oh, that's what it was. Damn it! This is bad.
Sorry, continue.
This is bad, folks. We don't care. It's fine. You guys are entertained. Put likes in the comment section. Anyways, so there's weird disturbances going on. There's been the pillars in some of the areas in the town have been twisted and distorted in a way that doesn't seem natural. And later on, there's like a weird flash of light in the sky. And our boy Tonio is a researcher of sorts, I guess. I don't know if he technically is, but he researches these waves that are going on, and he's trying to figure out the mystery of them. Alberto is trying to wife Alice, and Alice ain't having none of that. And it seems like Alice has a thing for Tonio, so But Tonio's on some weird self-deprecation stuff, so he isn't feeling confident enough to deal with all that. But Ash and the gang are getting along with everybody, and hijinks ensue. We got some Pokemon playtime, and all of a sudden, a fucking creepy figure from the shadows arises. That's our main character here, the title character. Mr. Darkrai shows up and starts putting people to sleep and giving them nightmares and causing childhood trauma. These guys are 10. How dare you? Anywho,
Child molester.
Whoa, that's a hell of an accusation, Richie. And to be fair, and it's funny because Tonio has a drip limp who is known for stealing small children. I believe that's his Pokédex entry, which is horrifying.
That's it.
Yeah, which is horrifying in its own right. But we don't care; it's fine. So after Ash awakes from his nightmare because he's put in one by Darkrai, all of a sudden, as Darkrai is also continually going around town screaming "Go away" and putting a bunch of Pokemon to sleep with nightmares. The flash happens in the sky, and all of a sudden you start seeing astral projections of all these Pokemon kind of just floating around with no explanation of it. And for some reason Alberto turns into a Licky Licky because apparently his Licky Licky was dreaming about being Licky Licky. Also, hi Licky Licky. No one likes you. No.
I like.
Well, really, no one does.
I mean, I think it's okay. Probably because Conway has one.
Of course. People don't understand the joke, Polly. They don't know yet. Unless they follow you on Twitter. Follow Polly on Twitter, folks.
Well, and just generally, I like
Sell out.
Conway's.
That's fine. But people don't know who Conway is. Some people don't know who Conway is. And the ones who do don't understand. This is very unprofessional. I feel bad. Tara was like, what the fuck did you guys do with all this? Just tell the goddamn plot summary. Yeah, we're not going to do that consistently. So anyways, you got astral projections of Pokemon. Alberto is a Licky Licky temporarily. And you essentially find out later on through the story that Darkrai is being misunderstood. What actually is happening, because the thing I've neglected to mention because A, I kind of forgot it, and B, because it's not really relevant until now. Dialga and Palkia have been fighting in another dimension. They were never meant to meet, but now they've met and they fought, and Palkia got its arm shield cracked and was hurt and decided to teleport. So the reason why there are astral projections of Pokemon is due to the fact that Palkia has now run to that Earth in that moment in time to run away from Dialga. And then eventually when Dialga finds him, he ends up switching them into an alternate dimension where things are slowly being distorted and destroyed. And if they don't hurry up and appease the beasts, they're all going to, I guess, I would say die, but it's a Pokemon movie, so I guess I'll just say disappear. And luckily, there's a particular song and there was a mechanism put in place that quells the beast, because apparently Alice's grandmother knew in advance from a long time ago this was something that was destined to happen. So the giant towers in the town are what are able to quell their fighting. But they still got to make it up the tower to do that. So while Brock is out there directing people to safety with Nurse Joy, Ash and Dawn were up there trying to get the I don't know what you call them. I guess they're like the circular tablets they have to put in there to play the song. I guess.
Yeah, it's just a tablet, I guess.
I guess it's just a tablet. I don't if they have an official name. I don't know what it is. They have to do all that while Darkrai is out there getting itself essentially beaten half to death by these two warring beasts. And at the end of it all, they're able to get in. They're able to play the song and quell the beast. But Darkrai unfortunately fades from existence before that happens. So sad days. Darkrai is dead. Spoiler, not really. He's alive well, but we find out in the last 5 minutes of the film, he's okay. We don't know how he's okay, but he's okay. Jesus Christ, Richie, I've never seen anyone boo a Pokemon's life. The fact that he was revived and you were just like, I'm not having any of this shit. Anywho, the day is saved. Darkrai's alive. He's no longer misunderstood, and
I'll explain why later.
And
but
the
yeah.
town is safe. This is a very bad plot summary. But there you go. That's Pokemon: The Rise of Darkrai, or in Japan, Dialga versus Palkia versus Darkrai. That's I appreciate it, Richie. I appreciate the pity clap. Tyrone's gonna be displeased regardless. But god damn it, we did it. Anywho, so getting out of the plot summary, let's just kind of talk about the film. I want to start with just a general opinions and then go down the line and then we'll get into the nitty gritty. Starting from my left to my right. KG, quick general thoughts because like I said, we'll get into the nitty gritty in a second.
Okay. Can I bring up something that never actually happened in the movie, though? By any chance?
Let me guess.
What?
Can I?
Yeah. You know how teaser trailers or trailers tend to have
Son of
footage
a
that
bitch.
never actually appear in the movie?
Oh no, what
The
happened?
Pidgeot.
Have you guys? Yeah. Have you guys
Yes,
ever
I
seen
saw-
that? The Pidgeot.
Oh, the Pidgeot. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
I've always
Oh.
wondered if they had like an original script for Pidgeot to actually return for this film to actually assist Ash and the
Oh.
others. Because it's really cool. Like, if you haven't seen the teaser trailer for that's always been like one of those
Wait.
things that I hate.
Just explain the teaser trailer, like the Pidgeot thing, real quick for those who.
Okay, so what's happening is like they're just showing teasers of the Palkia and Doggy.
Sorry. Wait.
The Palkia and Doggy. They were just showing a bit of the fight, and as they're scattering around, you see like the town starting to disappear little by little, and Ash is riding on top of one of the Pidgeots to head to the tower, if I'm correct, to go and bring the tablet to the top, to restore balance to Alamos Town. And that was something I've always wondered about if they were ever going to attempt to do that in the film. Because, like teaser trailers always tend to not, never make it into the film itself. Like, for example,
Mewtwo movie for.
besides that one, that one also. But there was also the Ho-Oh and Lugia one from Zoroark's film.
I remember that one.
That teaser trailer, it's always interesting to know about that kind of stuff.
That's what happens when you make yearly films.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering. Like, I really wondered if that was what they were planning to do for the direction of it.
Folks,
Actually,
I would say, folks, I would put that clip in here, but I have a sneaking suspicion I would get copyright claimed if I do it. So I might just put a link to the trailer, the teaser trailer, so you can see what KG is referring to in the description. But go ahead, KG.
all right. So the film itself, one of the most important things about this film is, if I'm correct, this is the first film to go digital animation this time around than the traditional cell animation. Because if you recall, movies 1 through the Manaphy,
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, they always went the traditional route, but now moving into the Darkrai film, this is where they started heading into a new direction with the series, and good timing. 10 film, a new generation, right? So it worked all pretty well. Now, my thoughts on the movie overall, I have to say, I still believe it's probably one of the best Diamond and Pearl films to exist at this time. I think the OST for this
is the only Diamond and Pearl film to exist at that
Well,
time.
I mean, you never know, man. Like, let's say a reboot or a remake of Diamond and Pearl comes out. You know for a fact they're going to make some kind of alternate universe movie where Diamond and Pearl is going to have some connection.
Well,
I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah, but it'll probably happen like 10 years from now, so we'll see till then. But my thoughts on the film, I think it's, like I mentioned, one of the best films from DP. The OST for this one is great. The Oracion theme song is probably one of my favorite songs from this in the entirety of the Pokemon anime series, just because of how well executed it matched with the scenes during the harsh moments that they were reaching when their entire lives were about to be destroyed by this Dimension Eater thing. I don't even know what the heck was going on for that. But it was the Dialga and Palkia fight, basically. My thoughts, aside from that, though, had a fun time watching the film. The Darkrai nightmare scene is still also pretty great as well. Having Ash be the one to be stuck in that nightmare, and it's something that they never really touch upon in any other films, at least until we got to 20 anyway. And I overall enjoyed it. So I think there was a lot of great things here within the film. The characters were great. The Pokemon were great. But one of the things I never like about any first movie, to be quite honest with you, is always that the Pokemon just can't seem to do much. You know what I mean? Because they're in their simple forms,
Yeah, this is like early on in DP because
Yeah.
they haven't even traded yet, and Ash didn't even have Chimchar yet. So
No. It was just Turtwig, Apom, I think it was Staravia,
yeah,
and Pikachu. So those were the only ones he had at the moment. And honestly, this is something I've always despised about every first film. It's just like, I wish we could just do something with these Pokemon to make them a little bit more active, aside from the intro scene where you see them fighting their fully evolved forms or other stronger formed Pokemon, you know? Because I think Piplup was going up against Empoleon, if I recall
Yeah,
correctly.
they did the whole correlation where they showed all the three final evolutions of the starters with other trainers, and then they had like each character Brock, Dawn, and Ash fight one of those respective trainers. It's always
Yeah.
kind of jarring when you see like a pre-evolution who's like this tiny little baby-looking Pokemon fight this fully evolved monster, and
And it's somehow on par.
yeah, they're clashing with their peck attacks, and you're like, what the fuck? What, you're an Empoleon? Why are you a peck in the first place? But that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, so that's pretty much my take on the film. I enjoyed it, and by the way, the song for this one is the Japanese version anyway. I Will Be With You. I love it till this day. It's beautiful, man.
Okay.
It's really great. It's also, I think, one of the rare instances where they use English song for that, right? Because I know it was Sarah Brightman and Chris Thompson who sang that ending song for the Japanese version, but I don't know if that's the only time they did that.
I feel like there was another time.
Wasn't it movie 6?
Movie 6 was the Jirachi film.
Yeah, wasn't that
was the Wish? No, that was the dub one.
I feel like there was a later movie that they did one like that.
Well, we'll probably remember
when we get there, we'll probably remember it. Richie, general thoughts?
You know what I think what I'll do, because I tend to usually put this in, put in my general thoughts, but I'll just give you like the less meat version of it. So in other words, I'm giving you the vegetarian version, and basically, it's a good movie. I still think the epic scenes definitely made up for a lot of the problems that the movie possesses, in my opinion. The characters weren't forgettable, which was great, because some movies you're just like, wait, who's this guy again? And then, but this movie you're kind of like, oh wait, it's this guy. They're not forgettable because they actually do something, which is great. And so, I don't know. Overall, my general thoughts, without going into much, because I kind of want to save it for the discussion part of it, is that the movie is one of my favorites, but I'm definitely willing to admit that because of the fact that you have the epic scenes with the fighting and the whole Darkrai thing, I think it kind of helped disguise, like I said, the problems that this movie had. So overall, I enjoyed the movie for what it was. I still would sit down and watch it, the whole thing, without like snoozing off or be bored or something, because I know sometimes the other movies I'll have that tendency. But other than that, that's pretty much my general thoughts, because like I said, I want to save my most of it towards the discussion part of it. So that's it.
Polly?
Yeah, my thoughts pretty much echo mostly Richie's. That makes it sound like I didn't like what Kevin said, but that's not true.
Kevin, your opinion is not important at all, apparently.
I can't get through anything without making some kind of.
Polly prefers Richie over Kevin. Let that be known in the comments.
Oof.
I think I just heard my little brother say "oof" in the background.
It was all planned. We planned this years in advance. It's come together like a family team plan.
200 IQ plan right here.
Big brain, big brain. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites. And I say this still not having seen a good chunk of Diamond and Pearl. I said on Twitter that this movie is actually pretty important because it's the one that actually got me into Pokemon. My brother, he found it. He was watching it on Cartoon Network one night. He's like, he's several years younger than me, so he's like, I think I remember back in the 90s, they had like the entire, like they had an actual series for this show, for this. Then he picked up a copy of Diamond, and then the rest is history, pretty much. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Um, yeah, I think this movie is just it's pretty easy to follow, pretty linear, which I like. Like it doesn't feel like there, even though there is like the crazy fighting between Dialga Palkia and Darkrai, it doesn't feel like a million other things are happening at the same time. But despite that, I also like how there are moments of like Kevin was saying, the whole nightmare scene was pretty cool, and then there are flashbacks thrown in. I also really liked how I really liked Alice as a character. I feel like I agree with Richie in saying some of the other movies, just the characters are just really forgettable. Like I still don't know half their names, but I don't know. Alice's story really resonated with me, or rather, like I felt emotionally connected to her story, rather than the other characters who are kind of just simply there to be there because they play some type of role with like the main Pokemon, but um, yeah, so I also really love the music. I'll get into that later though. So yeah, but I'm also not gonna discount that there were some things I did take issue with. That obviously none of the movies are perfect, but for the most part, this is definitely one of my favorites.
Okay, so
Mhm.
this is so I figured this was probably going to happen because I've heard the running theme of Diamond and Pearl films. Most people say that this is the best Diamond and Pearl film. That's the consensus I've usually heard when it comes
I
to
agree.
the
I agree.
DB
It is.
films. That being said, I remember I reviewed this film back in 2015 or 2016. I don't remember which.
Oh God. Good
Back
times.
it was around the time when the movie 20 was coming out, and so it hadn't been that long since I've seen this film before. Back then I went back and looked at my old review just to see what I said. I was pretty indifferent towards it. I remember me saying, and from what I read, now I'm playing devil's advocate here because God, I find this movie to be boring as hell. I
Oh,
it is one of those films that I don't have any insane, like it doesn't have like this one insanely glaring flaw with the plot, but it's just boring to me. I
May I just
find
point something out though? And I just thought that since this is the 10th movie, I figured they would try to do this in a way. So I was wondering if I could mention a little fun fact here.
what?
So the thing I kind of noticed about this movie was that since obviously, of course, it's the 10th movie, so it's like the 10th. I believe it was the 10th year anniversary when this came out, correct?
Probably.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. So,
Probably.
so basically, what I noticed is that when a movie series like Pokemon has tend to last as long as it had, which is amazing. Obviously, you're going to get a sense of, I would think, deja vu, and what I mean by that are these examples. So, like with this movie, you get an epic battle between two epic Pokemon, and that latest example was from Deoxys versus Rayquaza from movie 7. Although, to be fair, I don't think it was only epic for for like 5 or 8 minutes, and then obviously you have the alternate universe, which you kind of saw technically by the unknown in the Entei movie, and then obviously here's the kicker, because I thought this was pretty obvious. Um, and then you have to resort to music to stop the beast, or beasts, I guess you can say, for this movie. And this was something we saw in Lugia. And then there is the idea of the number of flashbacks to that were dispersed throughout the movie to help kind of set you up for what you're dealing with as far as like the significance of Oracion. And by that, I obviously mean the Lucario movie, because as we all knew, the flashbacks were important there. Oh, and of course, wait, what?
What the hell was that? Who's taking
Wait,
pictures?
what?
Who's taking pictures?
No,
Man, I
it's
know I
not
look
have
good and
anything
all,
here.
but shit.
Sorry, it's not have anything here. I hate that it makes that sound.
Oh,
I don't.
oh my goodness.
This is gonna be one of those. This is a very weird fucking review. Richard, go ahead so I can get into my.
All right.
my
So,
quick
all right,
thoughts.
I got a couple more, so I'll try and speed it up.
Okay.
But then obviously, of course, you got and because this is the first movie for Generation 4, you got to also remember the free trainers who have the starters evolved forms. So basically, the final forms. And this was something you saw in the Mewtwo movie. And then obviously, you have a little bit of a forced romance that doesn't really play out until like the end, sort of. And this was something I kind of saw in the Jirachi movie. Now that I look back on it, then of course you got the Pokemon the human transformation idea. Although I would argue, well, not argue, but like I know that both of these comparisons are not exactly the same, and they're a little bit different in terms of how it happened. But the idea still remains the same, and that was from what was it? The Latios and Latios movie, and then finally. You got an ending that requires Ash to solve some sort of puzzle in order to save the day, as per usual. And then that was from the last movie, Manaphy, if you look at it. So basically, the reason why I brought this up was because I thought it was kind of cool that they had these little tidbits in there to remind you that hey, we used these ideas before. But we're gonna do it for this movie, and I just thought, that just means that I've really paid attention to these movies. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting that they reused some significant ideas from the previous movies to mix with movie 10. I just thought it was kind of fascinating to point out.
I feel like that was so poorly timed. Right after I said the movie was boring to me, for you to be like, here are all these little intricate details you fucking missed that you should have known about because of the 10th anniversary correlation. I'll just quickly go through it. I think the movie's biggest flaw, and that's probably the first thing we're gonna go into, is the fucking pacing. Movie feels longer than what it actually is, and it drives me nuts every time I watch it. And I think it's because the movie's lopsided, where I think the first half doesn't have a lot of substance, and the second half has all the rest of it. And you're like, it almost feels like you're eating a fucking bologna sandwich, but the bologna's on the back end of the sandwich, so you're just eating bread for the first 3 or 4 chews. You get to the fourth, you're like, oh, there's where the meat is. Damn, I thought I was just eating a bread sandwich. That's what it feels like. I think the romance is weak. Because I don't think these guys are characters. I think the romance is really weak, actually. Alberto serves no real purpose than to be comedy, and I really don't think you should have let Darkrai live. I think that's probably some of my.
But how would they have ended the film, though?
Oh, I agree.
The film was already fine as it was.
You know what? Actually, speaking of Darkrai's death, the thing that I find kind of ironic about that was that the ending song to me was well, actually not to me. It was basically what it was. The end credit song was basically dealing with loss and letting go, which I find kind of funny because considering literally right before that we saw Darkrai come back to life, or is still alive basically. So I'm like, wait a minute, how does this make any sense? Like the song is telling me deal with the loss, let it go.
Well,
but I just came off of a scene where the main character of the fucking movie is still alive after all the shit that's happened. So I'm like, wait a minute.
After they cry about it. That's what pissed me off too.
I'm
like, what the fuck?
Why go through the effort of making it overly emotional? Why have him get? It'd be a difference. I guess I didn't want to start at the end of the film, but we're gonna do it anyway because I wanted to talk about Darkrai.
Fuck it, we're doing it.
Well, Darkrai was gonna be the first topic anyway, so we might as well go ahead and address the death. The biggest issue I have as far as that death is concerned is that it's one of the most ridiculous deaths we've seen in a Pokemon film. The man, he was shot by 2 legendary strongest, their signature moves, Roar Time and Spatial Rend, colliding with each other, and then he faded from existence. It wasn't like, oh, I just got hurt and I fell to the ground. Like, this is like full on, he was disintegrated out of like time and space.
Mm-hmm.
And then
bye-bye.
Dialga ran off as soon as the song started playing, and Palkia was the only one there who just restored the space they were in. how does that revive? Listen, it's not saying that Dialga and Palkia couldn't have revived him. It's that the person who probably should have revived him is the Pokemon that controls time.
And he left early.
And he left early. We fixed it. We moved the town back into the proper spot and fixed it. What's cool, Darkrai, how are you still fucking alive? Or how are you alive?
Say, oh, would you look at the time?
Yeah, obviously.
He put on his fucking top hat and just ran off.
Here's my
obviously
crazy
the play
prediction.
ain't that good.
Here's my crazy prediction. So clearly, Darkrai gets blasted by both the Spatial Rend and Roar of Time. So I think what just happened is that he just somehow managed to get attacked so hard that it brought him into the future within a different dimension, which is the one we see now at the very end of the film. That's the only logical explanation I could come up with.
Are we
talking about how he?
Are we doing the Arceus movie on crack?
No, listen, no, because this was first, technically, Rich. Okay, listen. Yeah. All right, so that aside, because I think we all agree that the way they handled him. Also, I just don't care for them going for the overly emotional crying scene, like, oh, Darkrai, and then like a few seconds later, there's his shadow. I find that it's almost like emotional manipulation. It just pisses me off.
That's what it was.
I had a problem with that to begin with because I didn't really feel like this was the first movie in a while where besides Alice, it's like Ash, like, yeah, there was that nightmare scene, but Ash didn't really connect on like some sort of friendship level with Darkrai, neither did Dawn. So it's kind of like for them to be like getting super emotional about it, I felt like it was a little bit out of place.
I'm glad you said this, Paulie. Yeah. This is gonna get into my overarching issue with Darkrai. Darkrai as a concept, I like. I like the idea of a Pokemon who's misunderstood by the majority of like society, and it isn't until like when shit starts to get real that you understand that how important that Pokemon is. My issue is not only with the death, where the death is, I feel like it's cheap emotion because the only character who has a deep connection with Darkrai is Alice. My other issue is they explain around halfway through the film that everything that Darkrai was doing up until that point and after that point was to protect the town and pretty much protect the place that Alice's grandmother kind of set aside for him or allowed him to be in. And he went about it like in the worst possible fucking way. Like, because we're introduced to him, he screams, "Go away," and then gives everybody nightmares. So even if I wanted to run away from the town, A, you didn't say anything that allowed me to do that, and 2, you put me to sleep and trap me in nightmares. And then later on in the film, he does it even more. You got a bunch of Pokemon in the center. How is that telling me to get out of the town? It's almost like he had a goal, but he didn't know where to go, so he took the worst possible route to get to where he was trying to go. So you don't tell me. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
You know what I think of that? I think that's just the writers, and sometimes this is a hit and miss because sometimes I'll praise them for
I guess you never
developing.
Miss, huh?
Yeah, hit or miss. But anyways, basically my opinion is this. I just think that the writers, as far as that is concerned, had no idea really how to convincingly write Darkrai, being misunderstood, while obviously he's doing his best to help, but because of the writers not knowing how to handle that was probably my issue. So in other words, the attention was good, but the delivery was a little bit questionable.
Oh, it was bad to me. I couldn't, because you can't. It's hard to.
No. I agree, it's bad. But
it's one of those things where it was hard for me to understand how was putting people to sleep and giving them nightmares supposed to equate to get away. Palkia's here, run. Like there was no correlation. He didn't even go. It'd be a different story if he was like stealing, like if he had grabbed Ash and tried to take him to the tower, and he kept bringing people back to the tower to show them Palkia's up there in the sky, but you can't see him. That would have made more sense to me. There were just better ways of conveying that he had good intentions, whereas it just comes off as, oh, he's just being a dick and putting people to sleep and giving them nightmares. But I'll let KG and Polly say stuff because I don't want to keep
mind if I go first then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Now we were talking a little bit about the death stuff with Darkrai, and I feel like they could have handled that a lot better. More like a symbol of it's finally time for you to move on or something of that sort. You know what I mean? Because I believe in the film, Alice, or at least how you say her name,
Alice.
she has somewhat of a connection with Darkrai, at least from what we
She's
gathered.
the only character who has a connection with Darkrai.
Yeah, and it's like it would be nice as a way to kind of say, since Darkrai is no longer here, she can finally, go on her own path this time around. Not
Which is why I don't understand the ending song. Like, it's a good song. Don't get me wrong. But
I don't understand the revival.
The main theme is just what the fuck.
Yeah, that was just a little bizarre to me because you set this whole thing up, making us think that Darkrai is this, only to just discover at the end that he is somewhat completely different, and then just completely scrap all of that at the very end by completely pulling our strings and making us think, oh, he's gone from this world, to just then find out, oh no, he's just been hiding in our shadows the whole time. And it's like I just wish there was some explanation thrown in between the film to at least explain how Darkrai is just able to do what he did at the very end, But they don't actually tackle upon that subject. They just sort of leave it for the viewers to sort of speculate, and it's not really in a good way either, because they don't put any sort of clues within the film to kind of give you an idea of how exactly this Pokemon came back to be, It's just sort of there. And that's pretty much my take on it.
I agree.
Yeah. I'm just annoyed because I feel like I have less of a problem with Darkrai than I do with the Palkia. But again, we'll get to that later. But there was such a big setup, and like Kevin said, like there was no meaning to come out of it. Like even the part with where Alice, like, she had all these. There's this whole montage of like how Darkrai saved her, and Tonio, I think his name is.
Yeah, they do that's kind of the point of their little arc, is that and I'll get into it when I talk. Actually, you know what? I'll let you go first because I want to talk about. I'm going to correlate that thing back to Tonio and Alice's relationship and what they try to do with a romance, because I hate how they portrayed it. But I'll let you continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
See, I like the hate-love relationship trope, so I would have rather her be with the Baron. But that's just me and my problematic shipping ways. Anyway.
She's a chaotic shipper. That's what she is.
Oh my goodness.
Did you say idiotic?
No, I say chaotic shipper.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, chaotic. Yeah.
Your goal
Actually,
the goal is to stir emotions in people that they weren't trying to have today.
both are true. I'm sorry. Okay. Let me finish this point.
Yeah, go.
And then I posted a picture. I was basically. I'll get to the B-Barrel in a second. However you pronounce that.
B-Barrel.
B-Barrel.
From what I remember, it's B-Barrel.
Okay. Sorry.
This is
Way to go. We got off track.
This is a very drop the ball kind of review. We've
Yeah.
we're not even that far into the review, Polly. Holy shit.
What?
Wow, we really did keep the spirit of Tyrone here. It is ghetto as hell.
Christ. You need a minute to collect yourself.
What a poor trade-off.
Oh.
I know, I'm sorry.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that, Polly. Don't do that,
No,
Polly.
it's okay.
No.
I thought you were referring to me.
What?
No,
I thought that was
KG.
the trick.
All right, anyways, we're behind schedule.
I said me.
Guys,
Oh.
we have now gone all completely
5 minutes later.
All right, listen.
No, but basically I agreed. Like the execution was just like you did all this stuff to build up to the fact that Darkrai was gonna die at the end, and then the emotional value was just lost. Like it just disintegrated. Once you saw him standing at the top of the tower, I'm just like, really? Basically, that's all I had to say on that, though.
Okay. I'm going to use the whole backstory with Alice, Antonio, and Darkrai as it's weird. I didn't expect to get into the shipping conversation, but fuck it. They brought it in the movie, so I'm going to talk about it. I hate the way this relationship is portrayed. Not really in the basic sense, like, Alice is into Tonio, but Tonio's super like he's not self-confident at all, so he doesn't understand Alice's advances, and Alice gets mad at him because of it. That's perfectly fine. I understand that. My issue is this. They never really explain why Alice is into Tonio, and the only reason we get is the whole fact that Tonio saved her when she was a child, and that's what kind of triggered or set the ball.
Generic.
But here's the problem. Later in the film, they reveal, it wasn't. It explains the reason why Tonio doesn't feel the same way is because Tonio knows that the reality is that Darkrai's the one who saved her. It wasn't her. The problem I have with this is you're essentially implying that the entirety of that relationship is based off the fact that she was saved once by who she thought was Tonio when she was a little girl. They don't have any other real interactions romantically that make you think that their interest in each other is not based off of that event. And to me, that's like the dumbest reason to be like, to fall in love with a guy. And considering that's like the basis of Tonio and Alice's direct relationship, we don't even know why Alberto likes Alice. Like, we just know that Alberto likes Alice.
I feel like for
that's
Alberto,
why I don't fucking like some of these. I don't care for these side characters because they're all based around one concept. Alberto's is pretty much the guy screaming "Burn the witch, burn the rich," but he's a fucking comedic but he's a comedic character, so he gets made fun of for the butt of the joke most of the time. Alice is our token nice tour guide like lore explainer, and then you have Tonio for our technical mumbo jumbo justification for what's going on, but none of them really feel like characters except for maybe Alice, and it's only in reference to Darkrai, not in reference to Tonio or Alberto. I hate the way that shit was done. If they gave other reasons for why she was into Tonio or why even Alberto was into Alice, that would have fleshed them out. I don't care about the romance focus of those characters. I want the reason behind the romance to make sense, or else you can't expect me to care when Tonio gets the girl or when Alberto doesn't get the girl. Like, I don't care about these things because the movie doesn't seem to care about these things.
I'm not gonna lie,
Vu.
with Tonio's design, I actually originally thought that he was like her dad or something, or her grandfather.
Oh, you know the way you can't tell. There's only one way you can't tell. It's the fact he doesn't have the lines going down his face like old people in anime do usually.
Yeah.
No. What I want to say real quick about Alberto before we move on is that I feel like Alberto's just I'm not saying he was a worthless character. I mean, you could say that, but
I would.
But basically, that. I feel okay. Well, that's fine. I don't care. But basically, my point is that my point is that I feel like he's because I feel like since they were trying to have a relationship plot going a little bit, because obviously, of course, you have the girl, you have the guy that she's interested in, and then of course you have the guy that thinks of himself as thinks of himself highly, when in reality he's not, and because of that he thinks he's hot enough shit to earn the girl with that aspiration, but in reality, he obviously didn't get that goal accomplished. So that's why I was yelling generic, because I'm like, I've seen this before many times, and it's not even from Pokemon.
It's not an interesting concept, and they don't make it interesting. Also,
he's Gaston.
Yeah,
Nope,
that's a good reference. That's literally what he is. My biggest issue, and my other thing is that they don't. Alberto and Tonio don't even interact much at all in the film, really, except for like that one scene when he's a licky talking about "Turn me back, Tonio." And I'm like,
the few interactions.
And it's like they don't. I'm a sucker for character interactions. To me, that's what kind of sells me on a character, is how they act and how they act in certain situations. Alberto, Antonio, and Alice don't really stand up strong as characters, except for maybe Alice. And like I said, it's only in reference to Darkrai, because the Tonio stuff is weak. I would have taken something as basic as her saying why she was in the Tonio. Didn't even have to explain. I don't even need like you to show me a scene or a backstory. Just tell me why she likes him. Because right now, all I think it is that, oh, he saved me when I was a child, which we find out is a lie, and they give him his little redemption moment. But I'm like, so the big climax of their relationship saga is that he saved her from falling off a building.
Yeah, and we don't even find that out until later. Like in the beginning, I just recall she's like, "I don't love you. I love Tonio," and that was it.
Yeah, that's all she does. Like because when Tonio and Alberto first introduced is when they're at the park and all the Pokemon are playing. Alberto just comes out and goes, "I love you, Alice. You're gonna be my wife," and she's like, "No, I love Tonio," and you're like, who are you? Like, because it's their introduction scene. We were just introduced to Alberto and Tonio in that scene, and it was like, oh, it's a triangle, but you didn't even tell me these characters' names yet. So it's kind of hard for me not to look at them as literally just baseless shipping characters. But KG, do you have anything to add on this front before we?
I feel that this whole shipping thing. First of all, I'm getting some massive deja vu with how you explained this whole thing, because it's reminding me of something from X and Y with the way you explained it.
Oh no!
I have.
But now going into this one.
No.
I feel what would have made it work a little bit better is, as you mentioned, they should have introduced these characters, or at least they should have introduced them separately before making them all join up together somewhere within halfway of the film, you know? Like have each character individually be introduced, give what their description of what they are, what they do, etc., and then let them all meet together, because at least you'll have somewhat of a connection with the characters before the eventual love triangle thing shows up.
Yeah,
you know?
pretty much show other aspects of their personality before I'm introduced to them. Like it shouldn't be like my name is Alberto, marry me, Alice. It should have been like, I'm Alberto, he had other interests. And to be fair, his other interest is witch hunting Darkrai for some fucking reason. But, you know, that would have been cool. That would have been an excuse to be like, here's a backstory. Darkrai maybe scared me as a child. Maybe it traumatized me for some reason. That's why I have a hatred of Darkrai or something like that. There were easy ways to fix these characters. Maybe Tonio's self-esteem problems come from that day that he couldn't save her. But Tonio looked nerdy when he was a child. Maybe Tonio used to be really cocky and whatnot. He was the adventurous type. And when Alice fell that day and Darkrai had to save her, he kind of reclused back into like a nerdy mindset because he understood that he was like, my recklessness always seems to get you possibly hurt. There were easy ways to make them different or to make them more fleshed out without having to do anything overly dramatic to the story. Also, because there's a bunch of fucking free time in the first half of the film, you could
have used it for that.
And I guess maybe we need to get on that. Am I the only one who feels like this film is lopsided in terms of how much shit's going on only in the latter half of the film?
That's one of the problems I was talking about before. I felt like it was so slow. And I get it, like you're establishing. Well, that also goes into my problems with Dialga and Palkia. They were just introduced way too late, and I also have a problem with Tonio in the sense that he's supposed to be this smart researcher, and he's been looking into this whole all this lore for years and years, but they don't even connect the fact that the tower could be connected to Dialga and Palkia until they literally just find it out in the movie. They don't even speculate, and it's Brock is the one who's like, oh yeah, do you think I've heard of I forget which one he said.
He said he heard of both actually.
Yeah. And I'm like, really? Well, this character's supposed to be smart. He's supposed to. Usually, when you're when you research something, you
at least have something written down.
Yeah. He bases everything on this diary, from his grandfather, or his great grandfather. But then he has all this technology, and there's nothing that connects to Dialga and Palkia until they start their fighting 2/3 of the way into the movie, or rather they're introduced to the human characters 2/3 of the way into the movie.
Yeah, because the way the movie starts, they fight at the beginning of the film. We see Palkia get part of its shoulder jewel cracked, and then it disappears, and then the movie just starts like normal, and you don't really hear nothing of Palkia and Dialga until I think it's till the scene where Darkrai goes up in the plaza and he shoots a dark pulse at the damn sky and it hits Palkia. How the fuck does Darkrai know he's there? I have no idea. It's implied that he already knew, and that but I agree. I don't understand. The Palkia stuff is introduced so late, and I also in the shoulder cracking, I understand what it means plot wise. Like oh, that's the reason why he teleported to a different dimension, and that's why he moved the whole. Actually, no, that gets into my biggest issue. Why the fuck did he move the town? Why did the town need to move when he was the one escaping? I think that's like my biggest issue. I can understand him jumping dimensions to get away from Dialga. That's fine. Why take the town with you?
I think he was using it for like a meat shield. Be like, don't hurt me, or else you'll hurt these people too, or something of that sort.
That's
But then again, he doesn't seem to care about the town either. So
that's my thing. I feel like that's the biggest, and I understand, and I actually do know why. It's a Pokemon film, so we have to have them be involved. So of course, Palkia is just going to conveniently take the town with it. But like realistically wise, there is no reason why he would have done that naturally. It's like it's only there for the sake of the excuse of the movie. But
I just thought of another issue I have in that regard. Like, we barely see anybody in the town. There's just that one shot where Brock and Nurse Joy are trying to get everybody out, and that's like the only time we see them.
Oh, so this is like Sonic Adventure 1, where they just happen to just disappear.
It's Sonic Adventure 1, baby.
Oh yeah, this is happening.
It's supposed to be this big like thing where it's like, oh, this could be the end, yet nobody's around.
they just happen to.
No
just
one's around
somehow
to see it.
They also have,
there's
a bunch of inconsistencies. Like remember they mentioned, oh, well the bridge is we can't leave the town, and we're just running in loops and whatnot. And there's this mysterious fog that's coming from nowhere. Well, we know the reason why they couldn't leave was because of the space. But, like, where did the fog come from? And then it just disappears. It's irrelevant right after that plot point.
I just thought the fog was part of the whole Palkia thing, to be quite honest.
See, that, yeah, because the question is, I don't understand what, okay, I'll put it this way. So, I understand that Palkia ran away from Dialga at the beginning of the film, and that's how he ended up at the town, right? Did he try to jump again, and that's what caused the time rift thing? And that's when he took the town with him? When you're behind the swirling background and everything's getting disintegrated? Because we see at the end of the movie, he moved the town. So we know that he jumped again. He had to have jumped twice. He jumped to get there, and then he jumped to another dimension right afterwards. I don't understand the second jump. Or when it happened. Because
this is why movie 10's plot is dog shit.
This is why and see, this is the kind of shit I could forgive if I thought the movie was overall entertaining. But like the side characters aren't overly interesting. Honestly, this is the most disconnected Ash Girl of the Week and Dawn. Wait, my bad, I said that wrong. Ash Girl of the Generation and Brock have been from the main legendary.
Yeah.
Or the main plot, and I'm like, so I don't have that much of an emotional connection to Darkrai.
Because we go from May being like a large part of like Manaphy's
pretty much her mom.
Yeah. To and I knew like I was gonna say this is kind of the start of like that type of vibe with the legendaries fighting but no actual like connection to them.
Yeah. Because even in the Giratina film, which we'll get
it's about to get worse.
It gets worse because the legendary we connect to isn't even the legendary of the film. Well, I guess it's part of what the film is about. But the point I'm making is like, it's that same weird disconnect where it's like, I don't really care about the legendary because, and see that works for certain films. Like for example, in movie 3, Entei never really interacted with Ash directly. But it worked, that one worked because he was viewed as the antagonist. Darkrai is viewed as the antagonist, and then they switch him to a hero. But I never interacted with Darkrai, so you can't get me to all of a sudden just start caring about Darkrai.
Also, just to bring another note, I feel like one of the faults with this movie, at least for Dialga and Palkia, is like, it kind of expects you to have played the games to sort of put the pieces together. You know what I mean? Because we talk about how Dialga and Palkia just sort of show up halfway into the film and just sort of shoehorn in them once they make their debut, and it makes me believe that like upon thinking of the film again, it's like they're expecting you to have played the games already at this point to know about Dialga and Palkia. Like, it's like, okay, we're just gonna let you guys figure it out by yourself by playing the game. We don't need to bring up any sort of little plots or summaries of who these Pokemon are.
I kind of struggle with that because I think I'm the only one here who hasn't played a Diamond Pearl game.
Probably.
Well, I mean, the Diamond and Pearl
did,
games, it's
did
I know.
KG, have you played them?
what, Diamond and Pearl?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's why I've been recommending you to play it.
I haven't.
okay.
So I was kind of like I know the lore of Dialga and Palkia. I don't know all the crannies of it, but like I was also like I don't know their big signature moves. I mean, I guess that's not the most important thing to know, but I definitely agree that it's kind of like it can be hard to follow if you really didn't play the games or aren't familiar with the generation.
Well, that and because of the way the film is told. The film is focused on Darkrai as the main Pokemon, but considering the whole basis of the climax of the film is based around Dialga and Palkia, and you don't even know what their fucking abilities are if you never played the games.
And also the unknown. I was like, where did these unknown coming from?
I feel like that was just shits and giggles.
Yeah, I guess, but it also didn't make sense. But it doesn't affect anything in the plot. That's why I kind of was indifferent to it. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And shits and giggles.
random cameo. I just don't. The only thing I think it's kind of cool is that in the credits you actually get to see the contest go on that Don originally came to the town for, and in the credits you actually see all the trainers that are in the film, the ones with the fully evolved Pokemon. Funny enough, Dawn does not win this contest. Ironically, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's the girl. It's the girl with the Infernape who wins, which makes even less sense because she fought her with the damn Piplups. I don't understand any of that. But this is the basis of my argument. It's just there's too much shit wrong with this film for me to be like this is a great film. And the sad thing is, I would probably still agree with the notion that it is the best Diamond and Pearl film. The only film I think that might be better in it is the Zoroark film, and I won't know until I rewatch that one. I won't know until I rewatch it because I've only seen that film once, and that was when it aired on Cartoon Network. But this is the basis of my argument. The reason why I don't care for this film, I think I dislike it more now than I did originally when I first watched it, because every time I watch it, it's like I'm more and more disconnected from the film. Because it takes so long to get to anything interesting, and by the time I get to it, well, I don't really care because you didn't spend through the film, and that's when shit picks up. And to be fair, I'll give it credit. I like the fighting sequences with Dialga and Palkia. I like the idea of Dawn and Ash working together to climb and scale the tower.
That was a pretty cool moment.
They use their Pokemon to fix the stairs, like Baneri uses Ice Beam to freeze the stairs so they can climb them. I do have an issue with that, but I'll go ahead and get out of the way. So just because it's you could argue it's a nitpick, but I'll let you guys decide for yourselves. They're climbing the tower, and part of the tower is starting to break off, like this fade out pretty much. At a certain point, I would start to question, how is the structure of this tower, like, why hasn't it not fallen, or we haven't seen any breakage or any of that crap? Also, I've noticed that depending on where you are in the movie, sometimes it looks like the tower is more complete than others. Like, the main thing we see disappear on the tower as they're climbing it is the damn stairs, but nothing else. But then if you do, like, zoom out shots, oh, everything's going apart. Like, I could argue it's a visual consistency, but at the same time, I'm walking up a damn structure that's huge that is slowly disappearing. Kind of bothers
And is the plot point too. That's the other issue, is that you're like, I wouldn't mind it if it was in the background, like you didn't need to go there. But since it's the center of attention throughout the second half of the film, I think a little more detail would have been a little bit more necessary for that. Because you're focusing on that, you know what I mean? You're making this thing be the plot point of where the film's gonna lead by the very end. So you would kind of hope consistency would at least be 80% there, instead of just how, oh, it's suddenly back to normal. Oh, suddenly it's not. Oh, suddenly it is.
Like when they end up inside of it. Oh yeah, there's nothing wrong inside of it. Well, what the hell? The damn stairs are disappearing. I expected to see some holes somewhere. Everything in the inside is perfectly fine. So I don't know. It bothered me on a consistency level, but I don't know if Richie will probably have anything to say on that front or not. It's arguably a nitpick, so that's the reason why I didn't go too much into it.
I actually didn't pay much attention.
That's why I said it could be viewed as a nitpick. That's why I was like, I don't know.
I didn't either, but after hearing that, it doesn't surprise me, really. It's just kind of generic at this point because I feel like shit like that usually, like obviously IRL it would happen, but in anime I feel like that's I don't know. I feel that's more of an anime thing.
It's like it's like par for the course because it's animated. They don't really.
Yeah. Also, not only that, not necessarily just because it's anime, but I probably just because if the main character wasn't there, like if those two weren't there, if it was someone else, maybe it probably would have fallen off. I have no idea. I don't know. But anyways,
like plot armor.
Basically, yeah, plot armor. Basically, I feel like that's what kind of justified it in a way, but not. But I'm not saying that to defend it in a way. So
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I guess we can do the music, and I'll let KG and Polly do this because I'm not really an audiophile when it comes to Pokemon tracks. I enjoy Pokemon music, but I'm not well versed enough. I feel like this is y'all's expertise more than mine. But Richie,
I'll give a quick explanation.
Well,
we don't have
here,
him.
so we go to the next best thing.
Wow. No,
all right, real quick opinion because I'm not much of an expert myself on this, but I generally did enjoy the music, especially the battle between those two. Then you got the when Darkrai enters, which I thought was pretty cool. And what was it? There was one track in particular, and it was heard during the Sinnoh League. It was the one where they're in the tower already.
They're running up the tower?
Yeah, so basically when Brock looks over and he's like, Ash and Dawn, hurry up. I know you guys can do it. I think that's when the theme started playing. And for some reason, I kind of enjoyed the theme. And obviously, of course...
I was going to say, I do like Darkrai's theme. And the only other thing I want to mention, and I don't know if I was the only... Richie, did you watch the dub or sub?
Dub.
I know Polly watched Japanese. KG, what did you watch?
Japanese.
Okay. Richie, you may be the only person who can help me here. The opening track they play in the beginning when all the Pokemon are fighting, like Ash, Brock, and Dawn are fighting against the other three trainers, they're playing a Pokemon intro, but they're playing like a dub intro of a song that hadn't come out yet to me.
Yeah.
Because it's not Diamond and Pearl's first English opening. It's like it's second or third or something.
Probably because they didn't want to do the rap. That would have been...
Well, I was just more confused because in my thought process, I was like, wait a minute, this song isn't even out. I don't think at this point in the show, it wouldn't even have been on the show yet. The hell's going on? And then when it's in the show, it's sung by a woman, not a guy. So I was like, oh, all right, that's a little weird. I've never known... Usually, like at least, well, to be fair, that was 4 kids, but... Every time they did one, they would usually do the opening of that generation or the beginning of that generation, but that might be me looking. I just thought it was a weird difference.
I think, well, the song is called Together 2007. At least that's what it was called in Japan.
Together 2007.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's so ridiculous. All right, no, go ahead, Richie. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I always thought that that theme was something from the for the TV show, because normally what they would do is they would take that season's opening theme, remix it, and make it a little bit longer. Like, in other words, like an extended version. So that's actually news to me because I didn't even bother looking into it, and now I'm just kind of figuring out, okay, what is actually the song? But I imagine it's just nothing but that, because I feel like that's just tradition at that point. So, but good eye, because I mean the song was good, but to finish out my music opinion, of course, yeah, you're good. But obviously, of course, Aracion, definitely one of the best in the franchise, I would say. Definitely gets you. Obviously, of course, it doesn't make up for the garbage that you see in the next few minutes, but that's besides the point. So overall, I I mean, it is a really great soundtrack, but I'm just not sure where to put it as far as like the overall movies. But as far as Diamond and Pearl, I think I'll say that for the Arceus movie, just because these three movies are connected. But I would
Yeah, I
say,
think that makes sense.
I would say as far as the overall movies up to this point, though, I would say it's in my top 5 for sure.
Okay, and I'll let Paul and KG have their audiophile moments because
I agree.
Alright.
I don't have much
Listen,
to
Either way.
say on that.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, go
no,
for
it's
it.
I'm a little bit more of a snob when it comes to the music.
And this is why we keep her, folks.
Yeah. Well, I will say it always kind of sucks because I feel like as much as I love Arasion, I'd say I like Enter Darkrai a little bit more because it kind of like I don't know. That's just a personal preference of mine. I feel like everyone's always talking about how great Arasion is, and like it gets me too. I like I said, I like tear up every time I hear it 'cause it's just so beautiful. But definitely, I think my favorite is because I just love the Oregon. I think they played it too. They played it multiple times. I think during the Galactic arc, like when Hunter. I always think of when Hunter J died. Sorry, spoilers for whoever hasn't seen it.
Jesus
Boo.
Christ, savage.
Hunter, but whenever I hear that, I think of Hunter J. But no, it's just like it gives me chills. But I do feel like it's often overshadowed by Erasa. How do you pronounce that?
Oracion, I think that's how you say it. Oracion.
What is that? Spanish?
Oration.
But
No, it's Oracion.
I would just say Arasion.
Oracion, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that French or Spanish? I don't know.
I don't know. Other than that, well, also Together 2007 is like beautiful. I think I actually might. I switch off between liking the regular version for the show and liking this one. I think mostly because this one played in the Sinnoh League. Not in the Sinnoh League. The final episode of Diamond and Pearl when Ash is watching Cynthia versus Flint, and he kind of has this like reinvigoration moment of like realizing that he definitely wants to continue on his journey to become a Pokemon Master, and that's playing in the background. It just gives you chills. Like, so I love Together 2007. But as for the, I don't know. I guess I not really. I don't know. The other tracks didn't really jump out to me as much. I think maybe the only other one is in the beginning. It's like this nice little chirpy version of Dawn's theme when they're walking to Alamos Town. And that's really basically it for me, but that's just personal preference. I like definitely Jirachi Wishmaker, Heroes, like even what's it called? Pokemon 2000. Like there are definitely a lot of tracks, like a lot of them that really jump out to me that I have downloaded on iTunes and stuff. But this one, like, I don't know, just those few. It's like one of those things where it's like those few are great, and the rest of the soundtrack is kind of just generic for me.
Okay, KG.
Sorry, that was long.
I mean, I expected it to be. That's fine. KG, did you have any audio thoughts?
Aside from what the main song obviously is, the one that catches me emotionally, the Eurasian theme song, I love that song and the song that comes prior to it. I believe it's called Ring Eurasian. I think that's how they say it. I love how those two sort of connect to one another to build up to that emotional moment within the film. Unfortunately, as we were talking about before, to me personally, a song can only go so well if the movie itself goes well too, But one of the big issues I had is that it just sort of jumped all over the place here and there, So that's why, like, I enjoy some of the songs from this soundtrack when I separate it from the film itself, instead of actually seeing it for where they're placing these songs in for these certain scenes, Some work, like I mentioned, the Orison theme song. Some don't. And as mentioned, I believe, Paul, you said this about the Clash song. I think that was also the one that was. Let me see. The Dialga and Palkia battle. That was the one, right? The Clash, I think it was called.
Oh, I think. Wait, did I say it or did Richie say it?
No, the point of the matter is the
no
battles.
one knows.
So I don't know what happened, but the point of the matter is that song is also another really great one. I always love the more intense kind of tracks that tend to play within the Pokemon films. So, and I guess since it's also part of the soundtrack, since I'm seeing it here, the movie version of Is It Summer and Together 2007 are pretty great as well. So I'm a big fan of those. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about it.
Sweet. I feel like I ended up dictating a lot of the negativity towards the film in this, so I wanna.
No, because look, at the end of the day, we still say that this is still the best out of the DP films. We didn't say this was a good film.
The problem is the bar isn't set that high. That's the reality we need to put.
The issue,
Yeah.
and especially
the asterisk needs to put in here that it probably is the best of the DP films, but
or at least
the
the trilogy.
but most of the DP films are not that good. I think even if the Zoroark film is good, it's still not going to like save the generation, because the generation has two really fucking bad films like this one, and this one to me at best, for me personally, is mediocre. I don't want to get too far into that, but what I wanted to do before I got into that tangent is get everybody's if you have a favorite scene or scenes in the film, what are they? And I'll let Polly go first. If you have a favorite scene in the film you really like, and it's probably gonna be Brock related, folks. So prepare yourself.
Well, I actually did like. I was surprised
Oh my
that
God.
Rock had like a
This
little
is
bit.
probably one of his better films, to be fair.
Yeah, he had a little bit more. Because literally, I can't remember a single scene from the Manaphy movie where he like did anything important. I think the extent of Lucario was that he had a crush on Kid. And, like, he basically, anything he did was probably to get on her good side. I don't know. So this one, you actually see him battling. And we get Sudowoodo, Happiny, Krogunk. Actually, Krogunk.
He blocks glass. He
Yeah, there was that one scene. I forget. I just know Krogunk battled.
It's not really a battle scene. What it is that there's stray shots coming from the Dialga Darkrai Palkia fight.
Yeah.
He blocks one like a badass. So they gave him that. Also, this is the first appearance of Krogunk, and his running joke is stabbing Brock in the side to the point where Brock probably has an immunity to poison. Jesus.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then Sergi. Shout out to Sergi. He was saying that this is the first time his Little Blue Book of Babes debuts. I'm surprised that was actually never taken as like problematic this day and age, but I'm glad Brock hasn't really been under fire for any of that stuff, because
To be fair, he's not in the show anymore. He's not in the show anymore. I think that's literally the only reason why.
Yeah. But despite that, probably my favorite is when Ash and Dawn are helping each other out, going up to the tower, and that they play the music. I loved it. Because usually, sometimes I just feel like it's like Ash taking the reins, saving the world, and the others get left on the back burner.
Well, this is kind of the running thing with Dawn that people like, is the fact that she's kind of just as in the action as Ash is, and a lot of even in the show, it was the same thing. Like, it wasn't like Ash was in front and the other two were behind. It was like Dawn was just as much up there as Ash was.
Yeah.
But any other moments, or can I switch to KG?
No, that's basically it for me.
Okay, KG, favorite scene or scenes?
Well, my personal favorite scene has to be the intro scene, like when it all began. That is still my favorite thing about this film. And it starts off with the Wonderful World of Pokemon, or Pokemon R, or however you want to call that song, where they introduce all these various Pokemon, but they aren't just any Pokemon. They're I think, in order of when the films and the Legendaries debuted.
Yeah, they've
like
been
for
doing
movie
that.
one.
They've been doing that in the films that we've been doing so far. We noticed that too, where it was like,
Yeah, well, since I'm now jumping into this one, I guess that's also...
no, you're fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and also given that this is the 10th anniversary, I just felt that was really nice to just sort of see that still a transition into the 10th film, but it's the scene after that as well that was also nice, where they showcase Ash just casually walking, and in the background are various clips from past films. And as it slowly gets further and more, you start getting to see other characters make their appearance, like Brock and then Dawn, and then other films such as Manaphy and all the other ones that have occurred prior to Darkrai. I really loved how they handled the whole Wonderful World of Pokemon segment, because I think it, for a film that's supposed to celebrate the 10th anniversary, I think they did it right with just, giving us Ash's journey so far. And that to me personally is one of my favorite sequences. Neuracian theme song is also another great one of mine, because I just love I think it's like wings that sort of spread out when the song starts playing.
Yeah, on the machine,
Yeah.
Wings.
And I just loved how the camera was just like sort of moving around, just showing that.
Gives you wings.
Yeah, not Red Bull in this world, I guess.
No.
But yeah, those are my two favorite scenes. The other one, I guess, in terms of a more intense moment, is the nightmare scene that Ash went through, because like I mentioned before, we never really get to see stuff like that with Ash and Pikachu, so it's just fun to see something different with Ash's character, given that he's already been in 10 films, and we need to start seeing new things happen. So that's also another personal favorite of mine.
Okay. Richie?
Of course, gotta go with the generic one. But I kind of did enjoy the pre-intro to the movie, and by that I mean the legendaries from
Oh my god!
like yeah,
Scared the shit out of me. What was that?
oh no.
Hey, Richie. I'm sorry.
You're probably-
What alarm is that?
There's your favorite animatronic, and then somebody hit a TV, and they jumped into it.
Oof. Well, F in the comments
Oh
section.
wait, guys.
I'm keeping that shit in. That shit.
F in the comments section.
I'm fucking done, yo.
It's always when Richie is speaking. I feel like a bad friend. Continue.
Oh no!
Okay.
Give me a second. Holy shit! I was not ready. All right. So Richie,
We're professionals at
we
work.
pause.
All right. Anyways,
Go ahead, Richie.
Sorry, Rich.
All right. All right. So, anyways, I kind of did like the legendary intro they showed from Mew to Mewtwo, all the way obviously until the previous legendary that we have seen, which was Manaphy. I thought that was a little bit nostalgic because obviously, of course, with it being the 10th year anniversary, it was good, kind of like going back to where we started as far as legendaries up till this point, because it kind of shows us how far we came, or they have come as a franchise. So that was one. And the other scene I liked, this is the only one, so I had like, it's not like the other scenes were bad, but these were the two that stood out to me the most. The one I liked was just the whole Oracion scene in general, just like seeing how the emotions of the song connected with the humans. And then obviously the moment where it kind of got me a little bit was where the wings came out. Tonio was like, oh my god, that's the song. And then you see Alice bring out the photo that she had of her and her relative.
What?
And then of course you see like the
Okay,
sad face
on the
the sad face on her. And then you see the two beasts kind of like growling in a way.
Yeah.
And then I guess it's just sort of acknowledging that, hey, we should probably leave. So, well, Dialga leaves, and then Palkia. But I don't know. The whole scene in general, I just thought was definitely made up a little bit for some of the movie's troubles. But that was before they got me by the nuts.
Well, I was
So,
actually
anyways.
looking that, but
Okay. I only got really one main one I like. Well, one main one and then one kind of side thing. The main one is the Dawn and Ash running up the stairs to get the. I like the teamwork. I like the working together. The use of the Pokemon. We get to see Blazion, Baneri, Staravia, Piplup, the whole Pachirisu and Pikachu. Shocking. I mean, charging the tower and everything. I appreciate that sequence. I even still, as much as I still think this was. I don't think it was dumb, but I still find it cute that when Baneri freezes the stairs, and they're like, "Good job, Baneri," and Pikachu says, "Good job," and she gets blushy and she hides her face in the cotton. It's like I should be used to it, and I'm like, okay, that's still something that gets me every once in a while. I heard, all right, fine, Baneri. That because my favorite animal are rabbits, so I knew that was gonna get me one of these times.
Oh.
The other thing I like is that Ash has like a few weird animation moments that for some reason I really like when they're climbing up the stairs for the first time. And he does like that. It's like I made it, but it's like he does the really wide mouth, like the really exaggerated mouth, or when they're flying in the balloon, and they, I think Dialga or Palkia accidentally blow off half of the balloon, and Ash falls to where Dawn is at. He makes the landing, but it does that kind of like he stuck the landing, but the shockwave is going through his body. It's like these weird small animation moments I just get a kick out of because they're very untraditional, but they're also pretty fun to watch, and they're a lot more, I guess visually appealing is the word I'm going for here. I just like that kind of stuff. And I guess another visually appealing thing is probably the Ghost Pokemon sequence. I still think the sequence is kind of dumb, but visually it's kind of cool to have this kind of weird horror vibe without it being horror. Which I think is kind of the running thing of Darkrai in general, where it's like scary, but it's not scary. So, because like it's like, oh, look at these ghost Pokemon flying through walls, and then right afterwards, oh, Alberto's a licky now. I don't know if that's intentional or it was meant to be contrast like that, but it's just an interesting, it's an interesting juxtaposition, I guess. But I think we've hit pretty much all our major points. So I guess the way we round this off like we usually do is we give a score out of 10 and then we say why we give that movie the score out of 10. So we're going to start the other way around. Polly, what do you give Darkrai out of 10?
I'd say probably a 6. Just because as much as I do love it, there are things I had issue with. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. A 7. Because I did enjoy it, even though it's like, what?
She said, "Fuck it."
We do it live.
Okay, my one fuck out of
2.
Turtles, millions of. Actually, yeah, I curse a lot more on Twitter, but anyway.
This is one of the weirdest sagas I did not expect tonight, but okay. Go ahead.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I was gonna go back to that B-barrel thing.
Yeah, we might as well go ahead and fucking address it. We're already, because I can post this. So go ahead and address it. It'll be up on the screen, guys, as she explains it.
No, so one of the screenshots you heard from before was me like, I didn't know how to pronounce it, so I went to the Bulbapedia page, and I'm just ambushed with this barrage of B-barrel animations, and I just find the funniest thing. I don't know why.
Because Breebarrow is a doofy fucking Pokemon, and people
so that one scene where it's just floating around with this clueless expression, like going through walls, like.
Would you want to see that in your dreams?
Oh my god.
Probably not that.
You know, the funny thing is that he's doing like a swimming paddle, which is funny because B-Barrel's half watertight, so I feel like that works perfectly. I don't know. I've kind of grown. B-Barrel's kind of grown on me. Bidoof still looks doofy. So, but B-Barrel's kind of grown on me design-wise. I don't mind him as much, but he's still, it's still B-Barrel. We still put him in bottom tier. He's like a D+ instead of a D-.
Well, it's all because he's stuck with HMs, man.
He's an HM whore, is what he is. Hey, side note, we get to see D-Fog in this movie. Doesn't do a goddamn thing.
And that's why we never brought it up, man.
And that's why D-Fog sucks.
If the films can't figure out what to do with it, what makes you think the games?
Which is weird, because it has, I think it's the thing that removes spikes, if I remember. No, not spikes. Damn it, what does it do in competitive? It removes something.
Status?
Yeah. It removes something important. Richie, you should know. You play competitive sometimes.
Wait, what?
What does defog remove?
Actually, I'm gonna read up on that because I haven't even done competitive in like a while.
Well, go
'cause,
ahead
like,
while Polly's finishing her explanation that we cut her off for.
Yeah, so no, I give it a 7 because I did enjoy it. It's probably I can tell you right now I'm not gonna be forgiving on the other Diamond Pearl movies because they're not my. Out of all of them, the second one would probably be Arceus that I do like because I find the other two to be forgettable. But despite that, I don't want to like base this on comparing it to other movies, but I don't know. It was enjoyable. Like, despite its flaws, it was still enjoyable for me personally. And I think it just has to do with just a combination of everything. Even if all things separately weren't exactly the strongest on their own, just the combination kind of just made it an enjoyable experience.
So
if that makes sense.
So the sum of its parts make up for its.
Yes, the music. I love the animation actually. There's one shot where I think it's in the beginning, maybe both beginning and the end. They show the water, right below the mountain, or no, then they show like these little like streams here and there. The water, the Pokemon are playing, and it's just like it just looks so gorgeous. And I think this is the first time we get to see the Sinnoh region outside of the animation for the show, where they were still going through their transition of the CGI, and then obviously later on they transitioned to digital. So in the show, it's like kind of hard to. So yeah, we get pine trees and like, the occasional like snow cap and mountains here and there, but. This is the first movie that we get to see all the gorgeous animation, the backdrop of the Sinnoh region, so I really like that. So yeah, I'd say I give it a 7.
Okay. KG, what do you give it?
If I were to rank it from 1 to 10, I would give it a 10 because it's a 10 film.
You ain't shit, KG.
No.
That was me not giving a fuck, alright?
I felt that.
I hope you didn't. If you might need to go to the doctor. If you felt that, you need to go to the doctor. Either that or I'm on some Darkrai shit. You better chill out.
Nah, but okay, real score, I would just give it a barely passing score. So whether it be like a 6.5 or a 7. Mainly for some of the reasons that Polly brought up. And yeah, sure, for throughout the entirety of this discussion, it has been mainly on the negative side. But I still genuinely enjoyed the film for what it did, and also for what it was also trying to convey in terms of its message and whatnot. The songs are great. Animation, as mentioned before, are great. The scenes with Ash, and you were bringing this up earlier before, Terrell, are pretty fantastic. Like the one where Ash finally makes it to the top of the tower, and then he just has this really exaggerated face, like something that looks like out of One Piece for some reason, because it's like his mouth is so stretched out and whatnot. Something we never really see from Ash himself in terms of, facial expressions, at least until we got to Sun and Moon anyway.
Yeah.
So it was just nice seeing a little bit of emotion from Ash via the facial expressions and animation. So that was pretty great. This was also a better film for Brock too, because he actually did some things. Normally he's always the guy in the sidelines, never really tends to do much. And while he still didn't do much here, I just felt he at least had more screen time, whether it helped move the film forward or not. It was just nice seeing the guy. And that's really it. The OST is great. Film's decent, still passing. I still had a good time with it. But that might also be because this is the first time I really went back to watch a film again. And also the first one compared to you guys who have marathon throughout the other films, before heading into this one. So that might also be a reasoning why I gave this just a barely passing grade. So that's my take on it.
Richie?
All right, before I do that,
here we go.
Clarification on the defog. So what is it you want me to look up exactly? Because I already have the information in front of me. I'm not sure.
Competitive wise, like, doesn't it do something in competitive that people like to use it for? Like, it removes like a status effect or a status.
All right. Well, let me give you the general description. From Generation 6 and onward, because it's relevant. And this is from Bulbapedia, by the way. Defog now clears away spikes, toxic spikes, stealth rock, and sticky whip on both sides of the field.
I knew it wiped away something. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
There's that. All right.
Go ahead.
Now for the shit people actually care about. I was gonna get this initially a higher score than the two before me, but of course, the running gag.
I just hear dings in the background. It's like, what is that?
I just love how it's always during whenever Richie's talking.
Do I get a lottery ticket for this?
Sorry. Oh yeah, sorry. That was.
Nah, you're okay. Don't worry about it.
She's been playing this. She's been plotting this for years, Richie.
No.
This has been
200 IQ play, man.
This was a week in advance. She was like, I have this plot. I have to set every alarm.
Every
alarm has to go for Richie talks.
She's trying to out Richie me. I can't have that.
I should have Richie speak first, and then you might save yourself.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, before that happens again, I'm gonna give this a 7, and I was kind of debating on whether or not between that and a 7.5, but I figured after knowing what I have to say about it and hearing what the other two before me had to say, I feel like a 7 would be an appropriate score. And the reason why I put it as a 7 is because, and this was something I kind of mentioned at the beginning of the video, is that I feel like the epic scenes with the legendaries definitely did make up for, well, not make up, but I said that it would help. It did kind of help cover a little bit of the problems of the movie if people don't look into it too far. Like, let me put it this way: if you watch the movie without really giving a shit about how bad the plot is and how little to no sense the death, or the quote-unquote death, I should say, for Darkrai made no sense, then I would say that this movie was pretty damn good. But if you want to look at it from a typical film critic / reviewer standpoint, I would say that this movie is I would say that this movie was squandered, because I felt like it could have been a lot better than what it is. That there were some moments where this movie could have done well in, but for whatever reason they didn't. And one of those examples was the whole how they handled Darkrai's communication with everyone when he first appeared. I thought they kind of mishandled that delivery, because the attention was good, but I didn't feel like the writers did do a good enough job to really deliver on the whole idea that that this guy was misunderstood. So those were basically few of my cons. I just thought that Darkrai, I mean, there was nothing wrong with his character, but it was just how he was developed was a little bit off to me. The death made no sense. I do agree about the whole fact of the legendaries, Dialga and Palkia, kind of introduced kind of late, like their significance, because I thought, it would be something that would be clarified sort of at the beginning, and it kind of was, but it didn't really make much sense until later. But and even then, I still have questions about the whole significance behind that. So there's that. Obviously, of course, I am kind of a sucker for good music. So I obviously, like I said, I really did enjoy the music from this movie. Like I said, it's definitely my top 5 as far as the movies that we've gone up to at this point. Exactly where, it's a little bit tough to say, but I'll probably reveal that when we're done with Zoroark at some point. But so overall, the movie's okay. It's definitely a change off from before, where I always thought that the Darkrai is easily one of the best, but then after looking at it again, I'm like, well, it is. If It's just that you don't have. It's just that you don't give a shit about if you don't give a shit about the plot. Because if you do, then this movie just kind of stinks up the whole area. But other than that, yeah, overall, movie is okay. Could have been a lot better. And the whole Dialga and Poké fight could have been was sort of there, I guess. And also just the one speculation I'd like to go off on before we hand it off to the host is that I feel like because of the fact that the song was meant to be or is meant to be about dealing with a loss and letting go, I have the impression that maybe they had an original idea to just let him die, but for whatever reason they probably thought, yeah, we shouldn't show that to kids, or we shouldn't start out Generation 4 at this note. Although I would say that they did it with fucking Entei, although I do understand that the circumstances were different, but still, it still ended up becoming a death in a way. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts on the movie. Could have been good. I mean, it still is decent, but I don't think it's as special as a lot of people in the fan base tend to make it out to be. I mean, if you look at it from a plot perspective, nothing special, but without it, it's all right. So that's it.
You sure, Richard? You ain't got another tangent you want to go on real quick?
Well, I mean, I'm working on my TSS game a little bit.
Oh shit! You almost had that man beat. My God! No, I'm just.
No, I'm behind like a decade.
This is why you should make videos, Richie. I'm just playing. All right. Anyways.
Maybe soon. Wink.
We'll see.
Yeah, maybe.
We're trying to get Polly on there. She's
I need a microphone.
What are you using to talk right now?
My MacBook.
It's fine. It's fine. First off, we don't like Macs in this house. I'm just.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh no, KG,
I don't know. I figured you dude bros would like.
Dude bros.
Own PCs with your
I'm the only
Wait a
one, man.
minute.
Everyone's
Oh
a
my
traitor.
goodness.
Wait a minute. Dude, bro? Really? We're sitting
I don't
here.
know.
We're sitting here on a Friday night talking about Pokemon, and you call us dude bros. Yo, I think that's the best joke all night, yo.
I need defense. I'm the only one.
You're fine.
I don't actually care.
All right. Anyways,
We're
Sorrel.
fine. This has been a weird fucking night.
Oh, this was a weird freaking movie.
Right.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
The BBRL floating is basically sums up.
Yeah,
this
I almost want to make. You know what? That might be the screen cap for the fucking for the
No,
thumbnail.
actually, what you should do is just have the B-barrel like zoomed up in the thumbnail, and then in his eyelid is Darkrai just right there.
I still like to put our icons in the damn. Where am I putting the icons? Our icons in the damn.
I don't know. Darkrai's
Right
casually
there.
holding them.
Oh yeah, he's just holding the souls of a Poliwhirl, a fucking. Well, actually, I guess KG, would it be the wolf or would it be Lana? Who was he?
With the wolf.
Okay, the wolf, and then Richie's head and my animated icon. This is great. It's a weird amalgamation. Anywho, I give this movie a 5. I'm fucking.
Ooh.
It's one of these films that I think I would never. The only way I would watch it is if I had to watch it. Like I don't. It's a film I don't inherently enjoy watching. It's kind of boring. My mind kind of trails off. It's almost like listening to ASMR, except the point isn't to sleep in this film. But I don't have a lot I like about the film to justify giving it anything higher than a 5. And it's only getting a 5 because the plot and the idea for the plot is fine, but the execution is just so bad. It's so bad. It's so mediocre. I'm kind of done with it, which I feel bad considering the next film is not better by any means.
Oh boy!
At least from what I remember, it is not.
Or maybe it might be the best one for all the wrong reasons. You never know.
KG, you might be drunk if you believe that. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I do have me this bottle right here.
Hey, listen.
Anyways.
Not on the job, all right?
No, that might. Listen, man. Having some fine quality drinks
KG, you're
could
drunk.
make an enhancing experience.
KG, you're drunk. Go home. You're drunk.
Okay, I'm out of here.
Listen.
Good ball.
Anyways, just to wrap this up, that is what I guess you could call a movie review of Pokemon Movie 10. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will put KG's link in the channel description.
Wait, that's all you had to say?
What? About what, the film?
Yeah, I thought it would be a little bit.
I'm fucking done with that. No, I can't beat you, Richie. I should have let you go last. Cause you had like a goddamn essay. I felt like I realistically I don't have a lot to say. I find the movie boring. I don't care for the characters. It has weak writing. It also has plot holes in it and inconsistencies. I like the animation. I like some of the sequences. Brock gets to do things. It's cool. It's not a lot, Richie. I don't know what you want me to fucking say about the film. The music's
Actually, yeah.
The music's good. What you say, Polly?
No, never mind.
Polly, we've already gone off the rails.
All right, I guess it's time to close the
No,
book.
just go ahead, Polly. Fuck it. We're driving in the dirt
No,
right now.
I was gonna say it's fine because I actually have to go out.
That's
No.
good. All right, so that's a good way to end this. All right, listen. Polly has to go, so we're respecting Polly's wishes and ending the podcast because you got to go. Actually, we were already at the end anyway. It's fine. So KG's channel link will be in the description. I always put Richie's in there, but I don't think Richie makes videos. So Richie, do you want me to put the Twitter?
Well, actually, the weird thing is that I noticed that in KJ's videos, the one that's linked is the one where I upload the last few soundtracks. While my technically main channel uploading, but not really uploading at the moment is you know what? Just keep it in there. And when I upload on the other one again, I'll let
You'll
y'all
let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyways, it's in the description. If you want to listen to the last few soundtracks, I got you.
Okay. And Polly, I put her Twitter because we're still trying to get her to make videos.
Yeah,
it's a work in progress.
It's a little embarrassing, so
I'm gonna have to coerce her over the course of the next 6 months. I think I can do it. It's just gonna take a lot of time and a lot of gifts. I gotta find a lot of cute gifts to distract her from what I'm actually saying. It's a work.
We'll see.
It's a process, kids. If I can get it, if I can link a video of hers in the description, I'll do it. Some of you, everyone liked the video, so I'll start linking her songs that she did put up years ago.
Oh yeah.
I'll start linking those, folks, so you can see the kind of quality you're missing out on because we can't get her to make more videos. Anywho,
up the money offer.
No, chill out. Anywho, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I want to thank Paulie, KG, and Richie for being here and putting up with my insanity. I appreciate it, guys, because part of the reason why these videos are so entertaining is because I do them with fun people and entertaining people. Also, just because you don't get to have enough discussions anymore, and I appreciate that I can do that, and we have people here who are willing.
Oh no, yeah. I always appreciate it too. Just being able to talk about the topic I love with other people who love it just as the same is not only a great hobby, but it also helps to deal with some of the things that may happen in our personal lives. It's like a good distraction. So it really means a lot that I've done so much at this point for like the last few years since I came on to first with another YouTuber named Tasso, then the KG, and then just everyone else. So it's an honor, of course.
Okay. And with that, we are going to get out of here. The next film you'll probably see us do is movie 11, which I believe is Giratina and the Sky Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's called? I forget.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Hey guys, spoiler for that review. Fuck Shaman. All right. Anyway, life's a game. Lay a win. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you all next time. Peace.
Now, if only I could figure out where Darkrai is so it could get me out of this hellhole.
Oh my goodness. Bye, Polly. Shit, she was too quick. Obviously, it's cool.
Testicles.
I'm assuming everything's done recording.
Well,
no.
I didn't stop.
Oh, okay.
I didn't stop the record button. I am now.